EastEnders Jillian Taylforth discusses Kathy's confrontation with Sharon after Keanu's body is discovered. The revelation of their Christmas crime grips Albert Square. Kathy's blunder with cement leads the six into deeper trouble. Taylforth reflects on Kathy's enduring role and the impact of past storylines, cementing her status as a soap legend. Amid the finding of the body, Jillian Taylforth of EastEnders reveals that Kathy has words with Sharon. The legendary soap star exclusively discusses her history, present, and future in Albert Square with Jonathan Hughes. When it appeared that the Walford Six in EastEnders were finally out of the woodwork, Keanu Taylor's death is found, bringing their Christmas Day crime back to haunt them. The unlucky Lothario, who Linda Carter cruelly stabbed with a meat thermometer to save his best friend Sharon Watts, is buried beneath the cafe, but the game is finally up when the floor collapses, the corpse is discovered, and the broken female fraternity who covered up his murder panic. Keanu's discovery was unavoidable, not just because it advances one of the most compelling plots in EastEnders history, but also because the cement the body was covered in was quickly poured by a very novice Kathy Beale. Jillian Taylforth chuckles. All she did was go on Google to find out how to do it, when discussing the upcoming development for her character and her terrified friends in an exclusive interview with RadioTimes.com. The six were extremely alarmed upon learning that the floor has collapsed. Naturally, Denise is devastated because her jewelry is buried with the deceased. Who came up with the notion to make our own cement? What on earth were we thinking? The ambitious narrative that has dominated the soap opera for more than a year now moves into a new chapter for the Six, as they are known, thanks to Kathy's astute, if wrong, idea. A clever flash-forward in February 2023 hinted at a murder mystery that took 10 months to properly unravel. After the thrilling and suspenseful episode on Christmas Day exposed whodunit and who got away with it, the women are now fighting to hide their dark secret. Taylforth sighs, it's not going to be good news that the body was found. Since not everyone is aware that it's Keanu, the question, who is it, will be asked by the locals next. It is concerning that the six will come under scrutiny once more and be required to provide testimony regarding the events that actually transpired that evening in the Vic with Nish and Keanu allegedly rushing off. How will they proceed? It's really duff. The return of errant Sharon, who abandoned her crew a few days after the incident and went to Australia to avoid the strain, is another occurrence that occurred prior to the exhumation. She ducked out, didn't she, the crafty thing, exclaims Taylforth in a light-hearted but recognizable husky voice. Years ago, Kathy assured Angie, Sharon's mother, that she would always watch out for her. Although she is happy to see Sharon again, they do exchange words about her abandoning the others. After expressing her regret and realizing that the six must remain together and cannot afford to split up, Kathy speaks up. She let them down severely. All for one and all, I will refer to us as the Musketeers. When someone is having trouble, Kathy attempts to be the voice of reason, reminding everyone that they need to support one another and that no one wants to go to jail. I'm not sure how Kathy would handle being imprisoned. Perhaps she could work at a bakery and bake cakes that have files concealed within? It would be difficult to see her family away. She would probably want to keep her head down, take her time, and leave. Off-screen, Taylforth joyfully affirms that the narrative has strengthened the bonds amongst the ensemble, even as the terrified six are on the verge of turning against one another as the walls close in. According to what Kelly Bright revealed to RadioTimes.com last year, they even have a WhatsApp group. Diane Parrish initiated it. I couldn't possibly know how to accomplish that. We engage in some light gossip, and it's great to see everyone pulling together. Although it has brought us closer as friends, I won't deny that at times it has been difficult work with some extremely long, exhausting scenes. I've obviously worked with Tish a lot over the years, but I hadn't had much experience with Kelly, Lacey Turner, or Balvinder Sopal. As a result, it's been nice to collaborate with folks I wouldn't typically work with. To be honest, I was a little surprised to be one of the six, but I was honored to be a part of it when our executive producer, Chris Clenshaw, told us about the plot. Kathy's presence indicates that, despite being gone for almost 15 years, she is still central to the show after almost 40 years. In fact, it seems as though Kathy has never left. Kath is an ordinary woman whose resilience in surviving extraordinary situations, including coming back from the dead, has earned her the kind of affection audiences reserve for true soap legends they've shared their lives with. She is one of just 3 of the original 1985 cast lineup still on the square, along with the aforementioned Dean and Adam Woodyard. When asked about the reason behind her alter ego's success, Taylforth responds, "You can relate to her because she is normal, down-to-earth, and just gets on with life." Like the majority of us, Kathy is very protective of her family and won't hesitate to confront them when necessary. She used to be a Samaritan, so don't forget that she's a terrific listener. I like Kathy's loyalty. She was a wonderful friend to Pat and Angie, and I also like her new friendship with Elaine Peacock. Even though they occasionally argue. It's interesting that Taylforth's portrayal is so authentic that it's hard to envision anyone else playing the job. Perhaps they were considering her for something else entirely at first. At first, I was mistaken for Sue Osmond in the cafe. Tony Holland and Julia Smith visited Anna Scher's, my drama school, where I conducted a conversation and an improvisation. They were concerned that I was too young to have a teenage son Ian's age, but after we met they believed I might be Kathy. I promised to change up my hairstyle and spend a few late nights. I read with Jean Fennell at my 3rd audition. She was originally going to portray Angie before Anita Dobson. A few days later, while I was working as a secretary, my agent called to let me know I had the part. I sang a congratulations into the phone. It was a beautiful moment. After its premiere, EastEnders rapidly gained popularity and transformed the genre by fusing the contentious social commentary of Brookside with the sense of working-class community found in Coronation Street. Among the many touchy subjects that EastEnders beam into the country's living rooms was Kathy's 1988 sexual assault at the hands of sleazy businessman James Wilmot Brown, which was one of the most influential plots of those heady early days. Taylforth remembers, "I wanted to give it justice, so I was very nervous about that. It was a significant task for me to do," expertly penned by Tony McHale, and it sparked discussion on consent. I recall watching the images repeatedly and thought, this actually happens to people, so I felt bad for them. I received messages from people who had actually experienced it. Naturally, I wasn't qualified to respond, so I gave them to someone who was. That demonstrates the plot's potency. Kathy gave birth to Donna, her daughter, after experiencing sexual assault as a teenager. She is still troubled by that. Given Kathy's early age, she was unable to retain the baby in the past, and her parents could not handle the situation properly. Later, Kathy abandoned her son Ben when she pretended to be dead and fled. Thus, leaving 2 children behind carries double the guilt. Oh Kathy, why are you acting like this? Kathy, like any powerful soap opera siren, has had mixed luck when it comes to men. She outgrew her childhood sweetheart Pete Beale, her marriage to Phil Mitchell ended in divorce because of his alcoholism, and sociopath Gavin Sullivan was so domineering that he made her act as though she had died in a South African car accident before she emerged from a cab outside the O2 Arena a few years later very much alive. She appeared to have found happiness with her 4th husband, Tom Rocky Cotton, until he nearly murdered her grandsons and set fire to her cherished cafe in order to get insurance money. Oh, we all make mistakes, don't we? The actress asks herself. Every woman is smitten with the sly and gregarious Rocky. I cherished their friendship, even if Kathy truly loved him despite his mischievous ways. Taylforth is prepared to handle anything is thrown at poor old Kathy, whether it be more romance after Rocky's departure or a stint in jail for the 6 shenanigans. While I enjoyed working on other shows like The Bill, Footballers' Wives, and Hollyoaks, I was ecstatic to be asked back to EastEnders in 2015. The past 9 years have flown by, but I'm glad to be here and feel extremely settled. It's wonderful to be a part of the current major plot and to have a new Beale's generation with Kathy serving as the matriarch in the center of everything. Please subscribe our channel.